And what if I told you that your cells, every fiber of your being, are not mere passive receptors, but legions obedient to a primordial command that resides in the very word itself? What if illness, stagnation, old age itself were mere consequences of misspoken verbs, of forgotten decrees, of a sacred connection with your body that humanity has corrupted over time? Prepare yourselves, seekers of truth, because what is about to be unveiled transcends mere understanding. It is a whispered echo from the forbidden halls of Thoth, a fragment of his legendary grimoire, a knowledge few have dared to invoke, and which promises to reveal how your cells obey the sacred word, one that must be spoken only once, with a presence and coherence that few know. This is not just another philosophical disquisition, but an invitation to transmutation, to an inner alchemy of thought. We are about to redefine your relationship with the esoteric universe that dwells in your own bodily temple, to unveil how your physical being is the crucible where the word of power can forge a new reality. You will understand how the supposed autonomy of your cells is an illusion veiled by oblivion, and how cellular obedience is the key to dismantling the chains of illness, scarcity, and the fragmentation of the self. This truth, guarded for ages, is the spark that can ignite your inner flame, guiding you towards a regeneration that goes beyond the physical, towards true spiritual enlightenment, towards a remembrance of what it means to be a conscious co-creator. It is a knowledge so rare and transformative that once assimilated, it will forever alter your perception of your own power. We will explore how every word is a vibrational command, a direct instruction to the core of your DNA, and how the body, in its infinite wisdom and loyalty, does not judge, it only serves, relentlessly executing the orders given to it, whether conscious or unconscious. We will unearth the mystery of the sacred breath, that ancestral Ankita that acts as the etheric bridge to restore the lost command over the body, the key to infusing the word with vital force. We will delve into how blood, that internal river which the ancients called Heka, not only transports nutrients, but is a river of memories, a torrent that carries vibrational commands to every cell, perpetuating patterns of the past. We will decipher the sacred code So-Kai, a specific verb to command the blood to stop repeating those negative orders, to release the echoes of what no longer serves. We will touch upon the veils of cellular memory, revealing how repressed emotions crystallize into patterns of stagnation, becoming silent decrees that the flesh obeys, and how an emotional release command, a three-step ritual of naming, breathing, and revoking, can dissolve these invisible prisons. We will reveal the sacred geometry of your own body, that seek mart, that divine template waiting to be restored to achieve cellular harmony. You will discover the altar of the heart, that inner sanctuary whose heart coherence is the foundation for the verb to manifest fully, and how the triangular breath can activate and purify it. We will unveil nocturnal reincarnation, a forgotten sleep ritual as a sacred sanctuary for the body to be reborn in its perfect pattern, a sleep decree that instructs your being to restore its original design during rest. Finally, we will unravel the final word of command, the supreme decree issued in a state of total coherence and full presence to initiate the regeneration and the awakening of the divine in matter. If you feel the resonance of these words deep within your being, if the call of the forbidden whispers to your soul, we invite you to join this expedition into the unheard. Leave your like so that the cosmic algorithm propagates this wisdom, so that more seekers may find this path. Share your reflections and questions in the comments, because truth is illuminated in dialogue, in shared seeking. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel, activating the notification bell. This is the first step, the first inhalation of a sacred breath that will transform your existence. Open your mind, for the revelations are just beginning. Let us now delve into the heart of this alchemy, into the very essence of the verb, That word of power which the Grimoire of Thoth describes not as a mere aerial vibration, but as a cosmic order, an inescapable directive. Do you truly believe that words are just empty symbols, mere conventions of human language? I assure you, seekers of truth, that this perception is the thickest veil preventing you from perceiving the reality of your own being. Every articulated sound, every formulated intention, is a vibrational command that resonates in the quantum depths of your existence, a frequency that is emitted and internalized with astonishing mathematical precision. Your body, that complex orchestra of billions of cells, does not interpret it metaphorically, but with the literalness of a genetic code. Your cells, each with its own intrinsic consciousness, with its ancestral cellular memory that holds the echoes of your lineage and the experiences of countless lives, do not discern between the figurative and the real. For them, the word of power is a literal command, a program that is activated or deactivated. It is cellular obedience at its highest expression. The ancient Egyptian priests, direct heirs of Thoth's wisdom, knew this mystery. They did not utter their enchantments and decrees lightly. They knew that the universe and the microcosm of the human body listened and responded without objection. Their science was not only of symbols, but of living frequencies, of sonic architecture that built or disintegrated matter. Thus, when you speak a word, whether aloud or in the silent sanctuary of your mind, you are sending an inescapable directive to the core of your being. This vibrational command has the power to rewrite cellular memory and catalyze regeneration, or conversely, to perpetuate stagnation and dysfunction. Think of repressed emotions, those whispers of the soul you dare not articulate. Do you believe they disappear? No, they become embedded in the tissue, becoming silent orders of illness or imbalance. The Grimoire whispers that every ailment is, in essence, a misspoken verb, an unconscious decree that has taken material form. Illness is not punishment, but the literal manifestation of a sustained vibrational instruction over time. A disharmonized seek mart. The key lies not only in what is said, but in the state of presence and heart coherence from which that vibrational command is emitted. The altar of the heart, that sacred inner space I mentioned, is the primordial resonator for the word of power. When your heart beats in coherence, when your mind is aligned with pure intention, the verb you emit acquires a potency that transcends ordinary understanding. It is not just sound, it is a discharge of intentional energy that your cells absorb and execute with absolute fidelity. It is the difference between a faint echo and a seismic wave of transformation. Modern science is only just beginning to scratch the surface of this ancient truth, measuring heart frequencies and their impact on the bioelectric field. So, how can you reclaim mastery of this word of power, of this decree inherent in your divine nature? It is through consciousness, through constant vigilance over your thoughts and your expressions. It is by understanding that every affirmation, every complaint, every blessing is a direct instruction to the master builder that dwells in every cell. This is not a game of meaningless repetitions, but an act of conscious will, a vibrational command emitted with such presence that it needs not be repeated. Once the sacred word is released with pure intention and heart coherence, the universe, and your body with it, begin their inescapable regeneration. But how to achieve this purity, this presence that grants such power to the verb? Here enters the profound dance of the sacred breath. Ankita. Ankita, that breath that invokes presence, was once the constant bridge to the vibrational command inherent in the word of power. There was a time, brothers and sisters of the path, when humanity did not question cellular obedience. It was a primordial pact, a truth inscribed in the etheric grimoire of our very essence. But something fractured. A veil, woven with oblivion and distraction, settled over the collective consciousness, obscuring the memory of that sacred connection. The verb, once an immutable beacon, began to flicker, its potency diluted by the mists of a mind that believed itself separated from the heart that animated it. This was the dawn of corruption, the beginning of the great straying where the body, once an obedient temple, transformed into a confused echo of commands. This fracture was not a sudden event, but the slow erosion of heart coherence. Repressed emotions, those unconfronted ghosts nesting in the deepest corners of our being, began to emit a cacophony that drowned out the pure decree of the soul. Fear, guilt, shame, each of these discordant vibrations acted as a subtle poison that distorted the signal that presence was trying to send to every cell. It is as if the altar of the heart, the sacred mere ebb, was filled with impure offerings, diverting the vital current that once flowed unimpeded. The reverence for the blood, that ancestral hika that encodes the wisdom of lineages and cosmos, vanished, and with it, the understanding that every drop was a universe of information receptive to the purest verb. The inescapable consequence of this disconnection was the loss of cellular obedience, the desynchronization of the internal symphony. Cells, which once responded with absolute loyalty to the vibrational command of an aligned consciousness, began to receive contradictory, fragmented messages, tainted by emotional and mental chaos. It is here that cellular memory, the Akashic record of your own body, accumulated the patterns of dysfunction and illness. It was no longer a pure vessel for spontaneous regeneration, but an archive of the ego's errors, a mirror of internal dissonance. The ailments that afflict humanity today are not mere biological accidents, but the palpable manifestation of a corrupted verb, of a forgotten decree that disarranges the structure of its intrinsic sacred geometry. Over time, this spiritual blindness led humanity to seek solutions outside itself, forgetting that the true grimoire resided within, in the secret chamber of the heart and the unified mind. External temples were erected, alien oracles were consulted, and the voice of the spirit itself was silenced by the clamor of imposed dogmas and doctrines. Thoth's knowledge, that architect of the word, was relegated to hermetic texts, to forbiddens, whispers that few dared to decipher. Science, in its quest for the tangible, dissected the body without understanding the soul that animated it, the vibrational command that ordered it. Ancient references to the word's ability to heal and create were dismissed as myths, losing the master key to regeneration and manifestation. But even in this age of forgetfulness, the imprint of presence, the potential of the verb, and the memory of cellular obedience persist like embers beneath the ashes. A path back does not require the invention of something new, but the remembrance of what we already are, the deprogramming of the layers of corruption that have veiled our light. It is an act of profound introspection, of confronting those repressed emotions, of cleansing the altar of the heart, mere AB, so that the verb can resonate again with its original purity and power. Could it be that the key to unmasking this corruption and restoring the sacred connection is not found in wakefulness, but in the dreamscapes of our nocturnal reincarnation, where the soul, free from the shackles of daytime consciousness, attempts to remind us of deeper truths about the internal grimoire? In the realms of sleep, where daytime censorship dissipates, we glimpse a primordial truth. The body is an obedient servant that does not judge. It does not discern good or bad. Its function is to execute, with relentless precision, every vibrational command that the mind, conscious or unconscious, imparts to it. Is this not the greatest of mysteries? That this biological machine is a faithful mirror, a living canvas onto which our most intimate decrees are projected? Cellular obedience is the operative reality. Each cell, a microreceptor, responds to the echo of our word, to the frequency of our deepest thoughts, those we often do not even recognize as belonging to the internal grimoire. If the body is a nar, instrument without judgment, what happens when the baton of our consciousness conducts a symphony of contradictions, of deep-seated fears and repressed emotions embedded in cellular memory. Those whispers we refuse to hear in our psyche do not disappear. On the contrary, they transform into silent decrees, into secret directives that the body, in its unquestioning loyalty, dedicates itself to manifesting. The ancient schools of Thoth knew this principle. They spoke of the blood, Heka, not only as a vital fluid, but as a mnemonic river, a carrier of genetic and emotional history. In this depth lies the root of many ailments, for the body materializes the content of the internal grimoire, including those pages we have tried to tear out. The revelation, then, is not that the body is weak or defective, but that we, guardians of the primordial verb, have forgotten how to emit the vibrational command with the pristine clarity and intention it demands. We have allowed the incessant murmur of the unconscious mind, tainted by past experiences and future fears, to dictate the symphony of our physiology. Thoth's grimoire, in its most veiled fragments, alludes to the capacity of the sacred word, of a decree emitted with total presence and coherence, to rewrite these cellular directives. It is not magic, but the physics of consciousness, a resonance that instructs cells to remember their original template of perfection and regeneration. True alchemy resides in the transmutation of our thoughts into conscious and empowering directives. Path back to mastery of the verb demands an act of deep introspection and purification, a cleansing of the altar of the heart, mere AB. It is there, in the sanctuary of our being, where heart coherence must be cultivated so that the word of power is not a mere sound, but a vibration imbued with pure intention. The sacred breath, Ankita, that ancestral technique of infusing consciousness and vital energy, becomes the bridge between our higher mind and the inherent wisdom of every cell. Is it not revealing that biological structures, from DNA to crystal formation, follow patterns of sacred geometry, Seek-Mart? When our decrees emanate from a coherent heart, aligned with this geometry, cellular obedience becomes a dance of perfect manifestation. Contemplate, then, the magnitude of this truth. Your body is not a separate entity that gets sick by chance. It is the visible echo of your internal commands, the tangible materialization of the narratives you construct in your mind and feel in your heart. The challenge lies in unearthing the unconscious decrees that have been sown by fear and ignorance, and then replacing them with the verb of wisdom and conscious intention. It requires unwavering presence, a constant vigilance of thoughts and emotions, for each is an agent of change, a spark that shapes your cellular reality. If every cell listens and every particle obeys, what profound resonance will a word of Omei, power, have pronounced with the conviction of the totality of our being, the one Thoth taught to emit only once to activate regeneration, thus unveiling the next veil of this sacred knowledge? The sacred breath, Ankita, is not a mere reflex. It is the conscious breath that weaves the lost bridge between soul and matter, the silent symphony that restores the vibrational command we once possessed. Think of it not as a simple inhalation and exhalation, but as a vital current that transports intention from the higher realms of your consciousness to the depths of your cellular being. Thoth, in his most veiled fragments, whispered that the verb becomes flesh not only by being spoken, but by being infused with the energy of life itself, that energy that flows and renews with every purified breath. By mastering Ankita, you reclaim the scepter of your biology, transforming the air into a silent word of power that your cells obey with ancestral devotion. This mastery of the sacred breath transcends the physical, becoming an inner alchemy. Every conscious inhalation is a purification, an ethereal sweep that releases repressed emotions embedded in cellular memory, those echoes of ancient and limiting decrees that your body has internalized. Through Ankita, the fog of unconsciousness dissipates, revealing the patterns of dissonance that have kept your cells in a state of imbalance. It is in this space of unwavering presence, forged by breath, that true regeneration can begin, not as an external miracle, but as the restoration of an intrinsic order, a return to the original design coded in the grimoire of your own existence. Contemplate how this conscious breath aligns the internal sacred geometry of your being, that ethereal matrix underlying all biological form. When Ankita is practiced with mastery, the heart rate and brain pattern enter a deep heart coherence, a state the ancients called the altar of the heart, Mir Abe. It is from this sacred center of harmony that the verb, once spoken or even thought, acquires unparalleled resonance and authority. In this space, every vibrational command emanating from you becomes a crystalline instruction that your cells cannot but obey, dismantling patterns of illness and erecting new structures of vitality and well-being. The regeneration that Ankita fosters goes beyond repair. It is a nocturnal reincarnation in the deepest sense, a constant renewal of form. It is not about an instant magical cure, but a sustained process of energetic recalibration. The masters of old understood that the body is a vibrational temple, and that breath is the guardian of its sacred flame. By cultivating a sacred breath, we not only activate the body's innate ability to heal, but we also raise our own vibration, tuning into the frequencies of perfect health and expanded consciousness, preparing ourselves to receive even deeper revelations. However, beloved seeker, the sacred breath is only the threshold, the gateway to even deeper mysteries. It is the anchor that keeps you present and the vehicle that transports your decrees towards manifestation, restoring cellular obedience. But what happens when the verb is not only breathed and spoken, but infused into the very river of life that flows through your veins? What ancestral secrets does the blood hold? That crimson liquid the Egyptians knew as Heka. And how can this vital energy, imbued with conscious presence, release the next and most potent key to regeneration, revealing the true essence of Thoth's forbidden grimoire? Yes, beloved seeker, you have touched upon a profound truth. While Ankita, the sacred breath, is the vital breath that initiates transformation, Heka, the blood, is the internal river that carries that transformation to every corner of your being, engraving the word of power into the very fabric of your existence. The ancient Egyptians, in their esoteric wisdom, did not see blood merely as a biological fluid. For them, it was a magical essence, a torrent of vital energy imbued with consciousness, which carried the deepest memories, silent decrees, and vibrational commands that forged cellular reality. This crimson river is the custodian of your lineage, the echo of your ancestors, and the mirror of your own experiences, a liquid library that pulses with life itself, waiting to be decoded and rewritten by conscious presence, just as Thoth revealed in his enigmatic grimoire. Within this flow of Heka resides the inscrutable cellular memory, a living archive that not only records the physical history of your body, but also the emotional and psychic imprint of every lived moment. Every joy, every trauma, every recurring thought leaves a vibrational footprint in the blood, affecting cellular obedience and, therefore, the intrinsic capacity for regeneration. Repressed emotions, those ghosts of the past that dwell in the veil, dark corners of your psyche, manifest as discordant resonances in this internal river, creating patterns of imbalance that translate into physical form. Imagine your blood as a vast network of energetic filaments, each drop carrying the imprint of the unspoken verb, waiting to be purified or reactivated by a conscious vibrational command, thus releasing the hidden secrets for an integral nocturnal reincarnation. But the wonder does not end there. This vital current is not a passive entity. It is a receptive canvas for your purest intention, a mirror reflecting the potency of your decree. When the sacred verb is spoken, not only with the voice, but with the full presence of your being, resonating from the depths of your altar of the heart, that word of power is infused into the blood, transforming it into an alchemical elixir. Each heartbeat becomes a pulse that distributes this transformative vibrational command to every cell, every tissue, every organ, reprogramming cellular memory and restoring perfect cellular obedience. The ancients knew that to truly heal, one must speak to the blood itself, infuse it with the truth of perfect health and unbreakable vitality, a practice that Thoth's grimoire describes in meticulous detail. This process of conscious infusion is exponentially amplified by heart coherence. When your heart beats in a rhythm of gratitude, love, and peace, it generates a powerful electromagnetic field, a miniature sacred geometry that resonates throughout your entire body. This coherence not only harmonizes your nervous system, but also creates a magnetic resonance that imbues Hika, the blood, with the highest frequency of the word of power. In this state of sacred alignment, the internal river becomes an impeccable transmitter of your decrees, a communication network that bypasses the limitations of the conscious mind and speaks directly to the spirit of every cell, catalyzing a regeneration that goes beyond ordinary understanding, a true rebirth of the body through the spirit that inhabits it. Thus, beloved apprentice of light, to understand Heka is to understand the master key to total regeneration. It is to recognize that you are not merely an observer of your own biology, but the divine architect of your cellular destiny. By purifying this internal river of repressed emotions and discordant cellular memory, infusing it with the presence of your sacred verb, you initiate a nocturnal reincarnation that transforms form from its deepest essence. Every red blood cell, every platelet, every component of your blood becomes a messenger of light, a carrier of the truth you dictate. But how can we, with geometric precision and unwavering intention, direct this sacred energy to unveil the next veil of the grimoire, the one that connects us with the altar of the heart and the secret of an even deeper structure? Ah, yes, the even deeper structure, that which underlies the alchemy of Heka. We now delve into an arcana of Thoth's grimoire, little understood and even less practiced in these times of superficiality. I speak of the Sokai code, not merely a phrase, but a vibrational command designed with geometric precision to directly address the blood, each of your cells, and command it to cease the perpetuation of negative memories and orders embedded from the past. It is the word of power that disarticulates the echoes of old wounds, freeing cellular memory from a repetitive cycle of dissonance, an ancestral decree for cellular obedience that resonates with the solemnity of a forgotten truth. The Sokai acts as a master key, a vibrational password that penetrates the veil of repressed emotions, releasing the knots that bind the blood to patterns of suffering or limitation. Consider this. Every experience, every unprocessed trauma leaves an energetic imprint, a tiny recording in the crystalline network of your Heka. These recordings become silent directives, commanding the nocturnal reincarnation of illnesses, weaknesses, or self-destructive attitudes. The Sokai, pronounced with the proper presence, is not a plea, but an irrefutable directive, a command that rewrites the script at a subatomic level, dismantling old programs with the authority of the primordial logos, the ancient masters. Those who guarded the most esoteric hermetic texts understood that blood is not just a transporter of nutrients, but a living library, a river of consciousness that flows with the history of your lineage and your own soul. References on obsidian tablets, found in hidden chambers of submerged temples, describe rituals where the verb was used to purify this internal river. The Sokai emerges from this tradition, an echo of Thoth's own voice, who taught that control over one's biology resides in the ability to speak to the essence, not just the physical body. It is a sonorous sacred geometry, a particular frequency that disarms the ego's defenses and addresses directly the spirit of the cell dot to invoke the fullness of the Sokai. The coherence of your altar of the heart is indispensable. This is not a mere whisper or a casual vocalization. It is a decree that emanates from the pulsating center of your being, anchored in the heart coherence you have learned to cultivate. As you breathe presence and feel the deep connection with Heka, visualize the blood as a receptive consciousness. Then, with pure and unwavering intention, not with a doubting mind, but with a knowing spirit, pronounce the So-Kai only once. This uniqueness is not a whim, but a reflection of absolute truth. A true verb only needs to be spoken once. To manifest, the effects of this vibrational command are subtle at first, but profoundly transformative. The cellular obedience of the blood manifests as a gradual release of ancient ailments, a regeneration that emerges from the root of your being. Repressed emotions, long anchored in cellular memory, begin to dissolve, not by confrontation, but by the annulment of their command. You are freed from the invisible chains that bound you to inherited or self-imposed patterns. But how can we sustain this liberation? How can we anchor this new state of cellular grace so that it is not a mere flash, but a constant regeneration? And what role does the sacred Ankita breath play in all this? We have felt the subtle yet potent tide of regeneration, the echo of So-Kai resonating in the innermost part of our blood, releasing visible bonds. However, beloved seeker, this is only one layer of the revelation. The crucial question arises: how do we anchor this liberation so that it is constant? And what role does the sacred Ankita breath play in it? Beyond external commands, there are other decrees, silent and insidious. Repressed emotions. These are not just forgotten feelings, but invisible orders, deeply embedded in our cellular memory, dictating a cellular obedience that often chains. US to STA stat, observe how energy stagnates. An unexpressed emotion, a harbored resentment, a silenced fear, transforms over time into a vibrational command, an antidote to the natural flow of Heka. It becomes embedded, like an invisible seal, in the tapestry of our existence, distorting the internal sacred geometry. These unaddressed whispers of the soul become ethereal barriers, diverting the vital current and preventing full regeneration. They are voices from the past, nocturnal reincarnations of traumas and disappointments that continue to emit their decree, affecting not only our psyche, but the very molecular structure of our being, commanding immobility. Where do these decrees emanate from? Often from the depths of childhood, from unhealed wounds, from social conditioning that taught us to stifle our truth. They reside in cellular memory, sometimes inherited, other times forged in the crucible of personal experience, operating from the subconscious invisibly. They are echoes of broken promises, unspoken words, denied affections. They are not mere weaknesses, but potent forces that issue a constant directive to every cell. An anti-verb that contradicts the divine essence of your being. Like an archaeologist of the arcane, we must unearth these seals to understand their influence. The mechanism of stagnation is simple, yet devastating. These emotional decrees repress the natural flow of energy, preventing heart coherence from fully manifesting. They create, in fact, a disharmonized altar of the heart, vibrating in discordance. The vital energy, Heka, is forced to bypass these blockages, losing its potency, its capacity for purification and regeneration. Cellular obedience becomes divided. One part responds to So-Kai, another to the old decrees. The consequence is a subtle fatigue, an internal resistance to transformation, a perpetual nocturnal reincarnation of the same ailments, the same patterns of thought and feeling. That exhausts us. So, how can we undo these silent decrees? The simple pronunciation of the sacred verb, though powerful, might not be enough to erase decades of programming. A deeper inner alchemy is required, a conscious act of dismantling these invisible orders. It is a journey of presence and will, demanding a tuning into the highest frequencies of our being. This is where the sacred breath, known as Ankita, reveals itself not only as an act of breathing, but as a master key, a decree in itself, capable of rewriting the most deeply rooted commands. How then does this breath become the divine chisel that liberates our essence? Thus we have glimpsed the truths of Thoth's grimoire, understanding that the sacred verb, a vibrational command, is presence that reorders cellular memory, activating regeneration. Cellular obedience, intrinsic to heart coherence, transforms each cell into an altar of the heart. The sacred breath, Antida, is the chisel that dismantles repressed emotions, freeing us from the nocturnal reincarnation of old decrees. It is in this alchemy that the sacred geometry of our existence is recalibrated and Heke flows. After unveiling this veil, what ancient silent decree resonates in your cellular lineage, waiting to be transmuted by your conscious verb? If these revelations have ignited a spark, share this message. Join our brotherhood of seekers. Subscribe to continue unveiling mysteries, and let the echo of our voice reach those who long to awaken. And to delve deeper into the application of the word of power, explore our next portal, the hidden power of intention, designing your destiny with sacred geometry.